segueing over to what's going on with the Rangers now, just what's your overall impression of the last 2 weeks for this team? I know there's been a lot of, trade drama, trade rumors, and obviously the Igor contract. Is one of those stand out to you as the most significant?
Um, most significant. I mean, I think just like the memo that they're calling it, right? Like Chris Drury saying that Jacob Trouba and Chris Kreider are available for trade, and like everyone's pretty much open for business. Um, you know, I think a lot of people could have said this is like a long time coming because the Rangers have been good for the past 4 years, but not good enough. You've seen them kind of hit a halt um, in the conference finals, but like, I'm not going to sit here and say that those years weren't special because I think anyone would have said that they believed that those teams could have done it that year. Like I thought last year for sure, like that no one was stopping them. Even with how good Florida was when Wenberg scored that overtime goal in Game 3, I was like, there's just magic going on here right now because they did not deserve to win that game and they somehow pulled it out. Um, but you come into a season and you start the way the Rangers started, like they were off to a pretty decent start, even if they weren't playing like the best teams in the league or maybe playing their best hockey, but the vibes were still decent. And then when things get a little bit tough to put out something like that, it shakes up a lot. And it's something I think you deal with in the summer so a team can get through it in training camp and kind of move on and establish themselves as opposed to doing it, 20 games or so into the season and then everyone's kind of just left there to feel insecure, maybe would be the right way to put it. I don't necessarily know. Um, but right now, it's weird, right? Like the way that I talk to my friends about it, which I might actually even just say like on air if I get the chance to, like feels like in Space Jam when the Monstars like just zap the NBA players and their talent. Like that's what it just feels like we're watching, right? Like guys who you've seen put home empty nets and score one-timers and make tape-to-tape passes, crisp plays, like it's just not happening. And that's not X's and O's. That's all up here, right? So it's hard to explain, but I don't think anyone really has the answer, to be honest.
Do you foresee like any other roster moves coming soon, or maybe I don't know, something with Lavi?
Can I ask what's the microphones light up? What's going on here?
Yeah,
So
when they're
it's just the
when they're
mute button.
on, yeah,
No way. Okay.
When they're lit up, you talk. When they're
yeah, and
That's
then
a
you can
good
mute
like
them.
little code though for like who
Yeah,
wants to go. Yeah, I like that.
yeah.
Sorry, what was the question? I just like picked up on what was happening. I thought it was cool.
No, you're good. Do you see them doing anything else? I know Capo Caco was a healthy scratch the other night.
Yeah.
Do you think maybe they do something with Lavi? Because that kind of seems like the next domino to fall here.
I think the next domino to fall might actually be Drury. Um,
Ooh,
that's what I think. I again like I haven't heard anything valid. Um, but if I were to guess, that's what it would be. Because I think right now it's just tough because I think the trust between players and management might not be there after everything that's gone down, and it's much easier to get rid of a GM than it is to get rid of 10 players. And same thing with a coach, but I think right now upper management's more at fault than coaching. So I think Giroud would be the next domino to fall if I had to guess.
Yeah, I want to go back a sec. Like I agree with you. I think it is a weird time of the year to kind of like lean in and do all this stuff. But being that that first domino already fell, it's almost like all or nothing. It seems to
Yeah.
me where it's like now that you're in it, you got to start doing other stuff too. You can't just trade your captain and have that be it, you know?
Yeah, no, I fully agree. But I think another thing too, if you're another GM looking to trade with the Rangers, you got to figure out which guys want to be where you are. Like, if I'm the GM of the Senators, like, am I getting a guy who wants to be here?
Right.
I think you have to think about that too when you make a trade. And sometimes those things don't always work out, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like the easiest thing to deal with on both sides. Um, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens. That's for sure.
and it feels like in the last week it's snowballed because on last week's podcast we were talking about the Rangers. We dissected the trade, and I think all three of us consensusly were like, they're still going to make the playoffs. And now, like you're looking at the playoff picture, and it just seems like the momentum's not changing. I mean, do you personally think this is a team that's going to make the playoffs?
I do. Just because I've seen enough in my life as a Ranger fan where when something does go right, they could go on a 10-game heater and be right back, you know? So I don't think it's like fully doomed as far as like the season goes. Do I think they'll do well in the playoffs? Probably not, but I think they'll get there. Unless something drastic happens and they just, you know what, that they fold the season and just sell everybody and want to start over next year. Like I don't really know. I mean, Drury, if his job is in the line, like he's not going to care about the next guy. So, he might try to do something crazy and drastic. I don't know.
With Truba being moved, if you were Drury or ownership or management, who would you give the C to going forward?
Vinny Trocheck, 100%.
Great answer.
Yeah, I mean, he's been the guy. I said it like 2 weeks ago. Like he's just vocal, emotional, spiritual with his play. He hasn't been as good as he was last year so far this season, but he's always in the room answering questions. He's always dragging everyone into the fight. And he doesn't necessarily back down from a fight ever. Like I think he is the perfect guy to be the captain of this team.